Hello and welcome to Points of Interest. I'm one of your hosts, Jake, along with my co-host, James, over here.
Hey, guys.
If you're new to the show, each week we come to you with video game... that was a mess.
It's okay.
That's what that was.
Keep on rolling.
What I meant to say was each week we collect video game news and stories from around the internet, bring it here to you in a nice little package for your viewing and listening pleasure.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got into the old one there a little bit.
I know. I immediately started with we
come
come to you with stories from around the internet because it used to be more than just video games.
It's true.
For just like a hot second.
Around the gaming internet.
We come to you from stories. Right. We come to you from stories and lore from around legend.
Maybe we'll expand. Who knows? Maybe one day.
Someday. But you can get the show now on Podbean. If you've been listening to us on SoundCloud, we're no longer on SoundCloud. We moved to Podbean for various reasons.
Yeah, you could still get some of the last, I think, couples on SoundCloud. It's hidden most of them. We'll probably just leave those up because there's a couple. There's one that people, it's like up to like 250 plus listens. I think that one's still there. But other than that, we're moving to it for a lot of reasons. So if you guys are listening to us on that, welcome. Make sure you share us with all your friends, stuff like that.
Thanks for being here.
We're still getting used to Podbean. So if you guys do podcasts or spend a lot of time in Podbean and have some tips,
#pro tip,
let us know.
SoundCloud was no joke. Like as soon as that subscription ended, it was just like, oh, you're no longer SoundCloud Pro. You are over your upload limit. What are you thinking?
Yeah, we got like, I knew you were doing it because I got like 6 emails from SoundCloud about various things that were happening. And I'm like, wow, he must have hit unsubscribe.
Things are happening and SoundCloud is being very serious about this.
True.
None of it was sorry you're leaving. It's all like, okay, cool, bye.
Just let you know these are all the things you're missing out on.
Which is fair. When you're as big as SoundCloud, you get to do that.
It's true.
Speaking of being as big as SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher are also places you can get it for the audio versions.
It's true.
Should be, if you're having trouble getting it on those places because we've switched, it shouldn't be a problem.
Wait a day or two.
Yeah.
I have to make some adjustments and I think it will be good, but don't be surprised.
Yeah. Shouldn't be a problem, but let us know if it is, if you're one of the people that listen to any of those platforms.
Yep.
But it will be on YouTube and VidMe for the video versions. That shouldn't be a problem. That hasn't changed. That's what we're going to stick with for the foreseeable future. So make sure you follow us on Twitter at IR Games. You'll see it scrolling across the screen here for the next however long we're about to podcast. But that's the best place to stay up to date on what we're doing. We'll let you know if we're having issues, and you can let us know if you're having issues with getting to our stuff.
Boom.
So
there you go. That was a much longer intro than normal.
That was an extensive intro, but here we are. You got to get through the rigmarole. People got to know what's happening.
It's important. I mean, where else are they going to find out? You know, this is the source.
You know where they're going to find out?
Straight from the horse's mouth.
Podbean.
I thought you were going to say Twitter.
I know. I could have said Twitter. I also thought about saying youtube.com/invertedreality.
All right, so moving on. We're doing a new feature. We're going to try and do this every week. Maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. But tell them about the new feature we're doing. What
we're doing is called What Have You Been Playing Lately? So it's honestly just me and James talking to each other about what we've been playing lately. So yeah, sorry if you were like expecting something more grand and
it's okay. I haven't been building it up.
Robust.
So this is like a surprise.
This is a new thing. So surprise to all.
Yeah. So for me, I tweeted about it a few days ago, and I got a couple people that kind of laughed at me. And that's fine. I don't really care. You know, it's whatever.
I laugh at you all the time.
That's true. You do. NBA Live 18. They had a demo come out this past week. Right, this past week, it was about a week ago.
Yeah, I know you do extensive searching for this, so this is not a knock on you. But indeed, NBA Live 18 couldn't have a 16:9 graphic floating around on the internet anywhere.
Yeah, it's not nearly as easy as you would think.
Oh no, I don't blame you one bit. I was here when you were doing.
I mean, maybe I need to be looking better at images.
I don't know if you guys. Oh yeah, you can't see it because it's behind our heads. But if we scoot out, you may notice black bars on either side of the screen.
You've got the gist of it. There's the 18.
So you can see it. You've got James Harden.
All
up in your face.
NBA Live has been kind of a joke the last like 5 or 6 years, right? They haven't been able to put them out every year. They had one last year. I think they missed before. Hold on a second. I need to. Yeah. So NBA Live 18. It looks surprisingly good. The demo that they had. The demo. Yeah, we did a Let's Play. And we're hoping to get that out here eventually soon, maybe.
Within the next month or two.
Roughly. And so I went into it thinking, oh, this will be something that's very easy to make fun of because it's NBA Live. Like it's kind of the redhead stepchild to NBA 2K. Like that's just a very normal thing. Not the case at all. Graphics, not quite up to par. We've seen some screenshots from 2K18 and it kind of blows the stuff out of the water.
Atypical for basketball games in general.
No, it's not.
2K has been lacking on the graphics front for a minute.
And mainly because they don't have much of a competitor.
Yeah.
So I jumped in. They have their My Player mode. You can play quite a bit of it. You play 6 or 7 different games. It's not like a Spike Lee joint story that's super dramatic and stuff. It's just you were a really big prospect, you tear your ACL. Now you're coming back from that. You're still in college. You're doing like some pro-am stuff. You're doing some NBA scout. It's the combine is one of the things you get to compete in.
Yeah.
So it's cool. 2K has something similar where there's two components. There's a streets component and a league component. And so it's, going and playing pickup games and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Frame of reference, this is NBA Live 16. So they had a 17, I believe, but graphics not great. It's not great facial structure, not great stuff.
Looks like a 2012 game.
It's not great. I mean, that's NBA Live is what's come from. This, NBA Live 18, in-game screenshot.
This close to the TV, they look exactly the same.
It is much better, though. There's a lot more detail on his arms, the sweat, the lighting and stuff.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah, the shading is a whole lot better. I was looking at his face initially.
Yeah.
And faces and hair are hard to do.
So definitely pick up this demo and take a look. It impressed me. Like, I think with the way microtransactions have kind of gone for NBA 2K, this could be a realistic option. We don't know what microtransactions specifically will look like in live, but the gameplay was smooth. It was fun, and it was not overly complex.
Yeah, it was fun. As someone who doesn't like to play basketball games, I don't follow basketball that much, so I'm not therefore invested in basketball games. And I've played 2K17. I have it, and I played it for a few hours. Playing that game yesterday, like, it was fun. Like, it was easy for me to pick up. I knew how to make certain passes, I knew how to shoot.
Yeah,
doesn't mean I played well or did it well. No, but it was one of those, I could pick up on the mechanics of it really easily.
Yeah, it was easy to get in and play basketball without feeling overwhelmed. So check it out. I think it's going to be great to have competition on the basketball circuit. 2K's got a demo coming out September 8th. Very similar demo. You play the first little bit of your My Player story, and then you also have like you'll probably have a simulation game or like a NBA Finals game, just like we did for live. But I was impressed. It changed my mind in a lot of ways. I really like it, so it may change my mind. So what have you been playing lately?
Similar to you, I picked up something that was not quite a full game over the weekend. I was playing For Honor on the free weekend.
That's true.
This is a game that I'd seen and kind of been like, yeah, that kind of looks fun, but I can't justify spending $60 on it when I have other games that I would rather legitimately play.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I did not start the timer. So sorry, y'all. There will be no segment times.
That's all right. No
it hit me as I got a text message.
No worries.
But I think it was fun.
Yeah.
I played through the story. I went through.
Did you get through the whole story?
Not quite.
Because I know it was a short story. It's like 4 to 6 hours, I think.
Yeah, there's 3 sections of the story. So you start the story playing as the knights, and then you move to playing as the Vikings, and then you move to playing as the samurai. And the story does weave itself together as you go.
Yeah.
So it's fun. The controls are a little bit kind of weird, and that might just be the fact that it's a sword swinging game. Yeah. In a very like mechanical sword swinging game at that. Yeah. So like in the opposite way that NBA Live is like breaks it down really easy for you. Yeah. For Honor makes it a little bit difficult.
It does.
They have some basics things like R1 is a quick attack, R2 is a heavy attack, but you hold L2 or one of them to lock onto a target. Yep. And then with your right stick, you pick which side you defend from. Yep. So left, top, or bottom, or left, top, or right, and then you also swing from that side. And so you pick whether you want to do a quick attack or slow attack. You got to time it right so they're not attacking while you're attacking, because if they're faster, they cancel out your attack. But same works the other way. Yeah. You hit them first, you cancel out their attack. Some guys you can't hit, you have to like parry and then you can attack. Right. Like all these kind of little different mechanics you learn as you go. Yeah. It is it's not bad. It's a good game, and if it gives a good feeling of I feel like I'm playing the war movies that I've watched of this era. So when you look and they run together and they're fighting in this huge group of people, and you do that, and there's little peons and there's actual like heroes, then you can hit the peons and they just die immediately. But when you run against the big guy, you have to actually, lock on and play. And some guys are harder to beat, and other guys you can do like kill moves on, and you get like health bonuses for that. So there's a lot going on. Yeah. But at the same time, it is a little clunky in spots. It's hard to do some of the timing. This could just be my skills as a gamer. There are enemies that you have to attack, but you have to like parry at the right moment. And it's as they've started their swing, just before it gets to you, the little thing flashes red, and that's when you hit your heavy attack button, which is slow. Yes, that's so it's kind of hard to be like ping and then like react back to it, and you'll die. And you go back to a checkpoint that's not that far.
I was interested when we first saw the game, like the concept behind it, with that kind of like Control in that you're controlling different points. Like that's one of the main game modes in multiplayer. Moving through it, having your own soldiers, having little peons. It almost was like, what am I thinking of? Like a MOBA, right? It felt, it had that kind
similar
of feel
to that for
it.
multiplayer.
But it was very interesting. I played a little bit. I didn't get to play a lot because I was busy this weekend. It was interesting. You know, it's a very unique thing. You don't see this style anywhere. The problem is that Ubisoft made it. So it was plagued with issues at launch, has server connection issues, which are supposedly better. And the next patch, which is free, is adding dedicated servers. There's a discount going on right now. If you play during the free weekend, you get half off. So it might be worth jumping in, but Destiny 2 is right around the corner.
Exactly. With Destiny 2 being around the corner, it was one of those things, I'm not going to invest the time in it. And what I didn't like the most about it was the menu system, and not even like the pause menu, but in between levels menu. And maybe this is different from multiplayer and it doesn't affect you that much, but I was just playing the story. Yeah. And I had no intentions of going to multiplayer over the weekend.
Right.
So you finish a level and you have like a story level. So if you kill enough guys, find enough secrets, whatever, you level up and you can get better moves, better traits, better versions of those traits, kind of thing. And so when you level up, it kind of throws your like things in front of you that you get to skip one at a time. Like it flashes up, skip, flashes up, skip, flashes up, skip, flashes last one, hold to skip.
That's weird.
Yep. So some of the things are hold to skip, some of the things are press to skip.
It's inconsistent.
And so yeah, it's inconsistent. It was kind of annoying, especially like if I ran across a level that I was kind of like, that wasn't that fun. It was kind of just, stupidly difficult. Now I'm like, go. Why is it not going? I'm not holding it. What's going on? So it's one of those things. The story was kind of cool, seeing it all weave together like it did. Fun game, but I don't have a great desire to go back to it and finish it.
From what I played, it was not as bad as I had heard it would be.
No,
I was pleasantly surprised. I wish I could have played some of the multiplayer. Maybe I would feel differently. Yeah. So that's interesting. It's good. You got to play a lot more than I did. So it's always good for that. So that's what we've been playing this week. What have you guys been playing this week? If you got in on the For Honor free weekend, or if you got in on the NBA Live demo, or if there's other stuff, maybe what are you guys playing? Let us know below. I would love to hear it. We're always looking for new stuff to try, especially as long as it's before September 6th. After September 6th, we've got our
Once September 6th hits, we're going to become a Destiny dedicated channel.
We're done.
It'll be Destiny. It's
going to be hard.
All the way to the bank.
It's going to be hard not to talk about it.
Did you guys see Zer's loot this week? Oh,
it was incredible.
Did you see Zer die? It was incredible. Moving on. Topic number 1.
We got a lot of topics today.
We do have several topics today.
Should be fun.
We got this one from Kotaku. Is Matterfall a masterpiece? Well, no. But, quote from the article says, though it makes my brain, eyes, and hands feel numb in an intriguing way, end quote. This was not as much of an article as it is a video review, and I highly encourage you, head down to link dump and watch this video because it is hilarious.
It's really good. It's so for those of you that don't know about Matterfall, which I didn't until this came in, it's same people. It's Housemarque.
Yeah, it previewed at E3 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I don't overall remember. I remember it a little bit when I see the footage of it.
Yeah, it had a really cool trailer of like this guy like jumping around doing sweet like futuristic ninja moves on guys, like shooting. But then we all know it's Housemarque, so it's going to be a twin stick shooter.
Yes, that's true. So Housemarque, if you aren't familiar with them, they did Resogun, they did Super Stardust HD.
They also did what's that zombie game? Remember that twin stick top down zombie game?
Yeah. Oh, that's going to bother me. But so they have done a lot of very vibrant, busy games, I would say. If you've ever played Resogun or Super Stardust HD, you know what I mean. There's just so much stuff going on the screen all the time, anytime. There you go. So here's a sweet screenshot of it, which gives you just
look at all that.
Hair's idea. There's so many particles to process. They do say it runs at 4K. This image is from a PS4 Pro, but obviously it'll run on a regular one. Runs at 60 frames per second, solid, like locked in.
You can see this little dude. He looks very much like Samus.
It does look a little Samus. They described it as like a Metroid.
Contra.
Yeah. So if that
requires incredible dexterity.
The big thing here is the ridiculous complexity of controls. Everything does something.
Yeah, he described it as Matterfall. What was it? Makes you aware of how much you need to know constantly. of how much of the controls you need to know.
Matterfall is a game about knowing the controls to play the game Matterfall.
Yes,
like,
that's what it was.
And it's a little bit like you use every button. Every button's got a different purpose.
Very much.
And it's very situational.
Yeah.
A lot of things to interact with, a lot of things to visually process. It could be a little overwhelming, just like Resogun or Super Stardust. Like I like those games. Don't get me wrong, but they're just not. They're too much for me. Like I have trouble focusing on stuff like that because of just everything that's going on with it.
Yeah. What I can see me not liking about this game, because I loved Resogun and I played a lot of Resogun.
Yeah.
I also played quite a bit of Dead Nation. I never really got into Super Stardust, but the way it's set up is R1 is jump, R2 is your weapon, L1 is strike, so like a slide. It's a non-lethal like attack that you get through little blue walls with as well. And L2 is like a matter gun that can charge these walls. This matter that belongs to you inside the game that you can use. You can shoot through. Enemies can't get through or shoot through it, but you can, called strike, that's L1. You strike through it or you can shoot through it. But it doesn't last forever. You have to shoot it. So you have to, you'll be using all 4 shoulder buttons at the same time.
Basically the same time.
Which is like, I don't know about you. I don't play with all 4 fingers on here. I've known a couple guys that play this.
You're gonna have to start doing it if you play this game.
Like it's one finger on top and they alternate
so
buttons.
uncomfortable. So we'll see. It dropped this week. I didn't really know it was coming out.
I didn't either.
It just kind of like
hearing about it because we didn't hear about it at E3.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. Is like it got mentioned several years, like a few years ago. I think at 2015.
Yeah.
E3. It was like Matterfall. That looks awesome. And then I feel like I heard nothing about it. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, boom! Here's Matterfall.
Very typical with how Smart Games in general, though. They
totally
usually don't have a ton of hype going into it. They announce it, get their work done, then here it is.
I feel like Housemarque makes these games that are like, you know, here's your top of the list. Here's like The Last of Us. Yeah. Here's Horizon. Here's this stuff. Here's Housemarque.
Yeah.
It's not perfect.
It's not AAA.
It's good, but it's not like, it's not your 4s and your 5s. And it's like all of them have been like right here.
8, 9.
Consistently good.
Not perfect. There's usually a few flaws with them, but they perform really well.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, their engines are always really good.
They're fun. They're twitchy.
Frame rates are solid. Like there's not a lot of bugs that go on with
some developers can't say. Avalanche.
Yeah. So it looks good. Check that out if you guys haven't already.
Yeah. Highly encouraged. Yeah. Looks fun. Something that's not highly encouraged that also comes from Kotaku is Troll and I. Oh my goodness.
The article comes from Kotaku.
The article comes from Kotaku. Sorry, that was not clear.
Now from
Kotaku is great.
From this title screen, you're thinking, oh, this looks kind of cool. Maybe like the Last Guardian feel with the big furry thing that carries you around.
Yeah, Troll and I is a port from PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and PC from March.
Where are they porting it to?
They are porting it to the Nintendo Switch.
Uh-oh.
So cool. We're getting more Switch games. I want more Switch games. I'm excited for more Switch games.
Yeah.
Have I mentioned I want to play my Switch?
Yeah, I love playing my Switch.
I do want to play my Switch.
Great.
So the problem is, no. This game looks like garbage.
I'll show you why.
It's an adventure game about a young man and his troll friend somewhere in Scandinavia.
Probably not in.
Can we go back one shot? Let's just look at the stark contrast. Title screen. Gameplay.
Now, just full disclosure, I can't guarantee that these screenshots came from the Switch version or if they were like PC, PS4.
Does it matter?
But if it like either way, this is so nasty.
If this is what we're running on PC, can you imagine what it's going to look like on Switch?
Yeah.
A console that's not even a quarter as powerful as a decent PC.
Yeah. It's reviews are terrible. Tons of bugs, tons of inconsistencies. You don't actually jump in the game. You just run at a ledge and then it's supposed to jump for you. And he said it works, but then it doesn't work and it's wildly inconsistent.
Yeah.
Just buggy. It's clunky. It just doesn't work good. It doesn't look good.
This looks like the difference between
look at this model right here.
You can see him. You can't see him. My chair's in the way.
That's okay. Well, just look at this model.
Look at this model.
It looks like a very tall ET is what it looks like.
He does.
Yeah.
It looks like when you see the cutscenes for something like World of Warcraft or even Diablo to an extent, not to as much of an extent. It looks like this phenomenal, like 3D rendered 60 frames per second, fantastic looking game. And then you get in, it's like, this is like a low poly top down adventure game. What happened? And like, this is this version, but you pay money for it.
Yeah, don't worry. I will make sure you guys get to see this face because it's an important face that you need to see.
Oh my goodness.
So
it's terrifying.
You're going to see it. right about here. It's gonna pop up, and you'll be like, "Oh my goodness, that's so terrible!" And then you'll know.
So
So
the question I have, James, is why?
money.
How
But
much
I don't
money
even.
though? How well did this game sell on PS4, Xbox, and PC?
I mean, I hadn't even heard of it until we saw how bad it was on
Let's
the Switch.
look it up. Troll and I sales.
There you go.
If it looks this bad and it's been reviewed this poorly,
Yeah.
how
Mhm.
sales
I agree.
VG charts? I wonder if they're any good.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm just so sad about it because it's just the title screen alone looked like it would be promising.
Oh my goodness. I don't have any numbers here.
That's okay. It's all right. You just use your imagination. Know that it was probably very low and not
Yeah.
at all worth
Know
it.
that it was low, and it just makes me wonder, like, all right, we're looking for Switch games. I know. Let's do the Troll and I.
I'm curious how that conversation went at the table.
Why? But while we're on the topic of Nintendo Switch,
Less good things.
Nintendo
Actually,
faces a lawsuit over Switch's detachable controllers. So over our fun Joy-Cons.
it's inevitable.
Over the cons that bring joy to our lives.
You know, I mean, it's inevitable.
I
Inevitable.
love that band.
When you have, whenever you have new technology that comes out, almost every
Especially if it's
occasion,
successful.
You'll see some patent issues with it.
Yeah.
So
This one comes to Nintendo from Game Vice.
Game
is filing a
Vice.
lawsuit against the Nintendo Switch.
So what's this, you ask?
That looks like a poorly rendered model of an iPhone.
I would say
With-
maybe like an iPad Mini.
Probably true.
So it's got controllers that hook on. And basically, what Game Vice did back in 2012, they wanted to bring tablet gaming. They wanted to make that a big thing, right? Glasses-free 3D game streaming and controllers that would hook right onto your tablet. Obviously, this rendering is with an iPad, but same concept. They didn't work out. They prompted change in design. It was called the WikiPad, but they dropped it years ago. It's been a while since they've really had.
I mean, while we're getting upset
anything
about
like
them
that.
about Switch copying them, can Xbox sue for these buttons? Because that's
Those
the Xbox
look,
share button.
Yeah,
That's the Xbox options button.
that's true. That's a good point. So it's who knows
Also,
a
that's
full.
the Nintendo button layout over there.
Who knows? How it'll go down.
I don't anticipate this is going to go far.
These things were made to like add on to a tablet, not like it's made for a console.
I mean, to be fair,
But
like the argument can be made: the Switch is a tablet. These controllers add on to tablet.
that's true. That's
But-
true. So it's who knows if it'll go anywhere.
I think Game Vice loses this one.
Yeah,
I'm being honest.
I don't
Nintendo has a
think
lot of
it's
money
gonna
behind
be.
them.
Yeah, they just wait because
Yeah.
the lawsuit calls for damages, which obviously, when you gotta have damages, look how bad it looks.
Yeah.
And then also a ban on Switch sales. Not gonna happen.
No,
Sorry, guys.
No way.
Game
WikiPad team
Vice.
started their plans for 2012. I don't know if you mentioned this. I was kind of like spaced for just a second.
You good?
I think you did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, this is. I get that it's close.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, like that's Nintendo's button layout.
This
Which
was
I don't know
years
if you
ago.
can patent a layout, but
Sure it is.
I feel like it's different enough.
Yeah, I don't know. It's years ago. It's
Just
Nintendo. Just
looking for money.
just
Looking for
move
money.
on. All right, what's up next?
Get past it. All right. BLD is a new service from computer hardware maker NZXT that simplifies the process of buying a new gaming PC.
Ooh,
And it is very simple.
it is.
I did it right before the podcast.
You did it right before.
And boy, howdy, it took me 5 minutes to get from nothing to here are several options of varying prices for varying power.
Yeah. So the way it works, it's very simple. NZXT builds a lot of things. They build cases. They build different parts and stuff that allow you to kind of go in and make your own machine. So what they did is they've worked together with vendors and things like that to be able to get you these parts.
Yep.
So all you do is you go to their website, letsbld.com, I believe. You can see the link in the article below. But you pick a game. Right now they only have like these 18 on their screen. These are all very big name games, very obvious. These
But
are
it kind of
probably,
narrows down, like, do you play like MOBAs or RPGs or first person shooters?
Yeah.
That
There's
kind of
everything.
thing.
There's just a little bit of everything, right?
Yep.
And so then you select your games. You select up to 3, and then you hit and estimate your price range. And then it'll take you to pick your price range, whether
Yep.
it's 1,000, 1,500, or 2,000. It'll give you a machine somewhere in that ballpark.
Yep.
And it'll show you the specs, and then it also shows you estimated frame rate for the build that you would be buying.
Yep.
So, for instance, you priced out a a machine to do.
I pressed out for Overwatch, Battlefield 1, and Battlefront. So pretty much just shooters is what I priced out.
Yep.
And I priced it out at $1,000. My original bid was like $2,000. And when you get to the last screen, I don't know if you have a shot of this, but it's got a like higher if you want to spend more and lower if you want to spend less. And so I just kept clicking the lower button and like watching the frame rates change. And for some of them, lower price didn't necessarily mean lower frame rates.
Yeah, frame rates.
So for like, I think I was mainly watching the Overwatch one. It's like, all right, so the $1,500 one ran Overwatch at 70 frames per second, but the $1,300 one ran it at 89 frames per second.
Yeah.
Approximately. These are approximations. But when I got down to one that was like $970, was going to run everything at least 80 frames per second.
Yep.
And was well within what would have been my price range for that. And it took me literally 5 minutes to get to that process.
Yep.
For someone like me, like if I didn't have a U around for me, I wouldn't know what to go in and look for. I could Google it all day, but that would waste my time and I would get so just bogged down in the weeds of what to buy and forums and all this crap.
Oh yeah.
I could go to this website and be like, I'm looking to get a gaming PC and I want to play these games.
That's all you gotta do.
Okay, here you go. $970. And there's also a $150 there's just a service fee.
It's an assembly and service package.
Yep, service. And also for shipping for that as well.
Yeah, shipping. Right? And so it includes assembly, 2-year parts and labor warranty, shipping, and a guarantee. This is the big part for me, that if the system doesn't hit the FPS target within 10%, the whole thing can be returned for free.
Yeah, man, that's crazy.
So the guy in the article,
within 8 frames.
Yeah, a guy in the article priced it out, bought one, got it 3 business days later. And when they do it, it's mostly assembled. You got to connect a couple cables. They tell you exactly what to do. It's very much an idiot-proof kind of setup. And it ran within those frame rates, and he didn't have to guess at, you wouldn't be missing out on like, oh man, I got the wrong power supply, or I didn't get enough memory, or this memory doesn't fit in my motherboard. Like all that doesn't even matter. You probably don't even know what all those words mean, or like why those phrases are important.
Why it matters what power supply you have. Like, does it turn on? Yes. All right, cool. We're good.
So it takes the guesswork out. It might be a little bit more expensive than going and buying your own. Plus you have the $150 charge. It was $350. They changed it just here in the last couple of days.
$150 is beyond reasonable.
Yeah, it seems reasonable.
It's perfect.
I would almost consider doing it, and I could go out and build my own just fine. So
we have one priced out for a little bit less than this that is going to be more powerful.
Oh yeah, it's got a lot more stuff.
You can also like, just because you can get this package, you can also go in and like configure bits. Be like, oh, I want a newer processor than that. I don't want an i5, I want an i7.
Right.
Like I can go in and I can change those pieces if I want to.
Get a different colored case, get a different size case.
I don't want a 1050, I want a 1060.
Yeah,
like,
but it gives you a baseline, and then it's like, okay, well, I just want to change this one thing. It gives you a starting point, knowing that the parts are going to be compatible with each other, which is a big thing that a lot of people don't really think about with as many parts as there are out there for games and gaming PCs and stuff in general.
Brother, I don't know if you remember this a few years ago. He texted me and he's like, hey, what do you know about building computers? I'm like, very little. What's going on?
I hate it when stuff starts like that.
He's like, I got all the parts for my computer and I'm connecting to my monitor. Nothing's happening. And I remember talking to you about it and you're like, it's probably a motherboard issue or just like a compatibility issue because something's not seeing something else.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's not firing. Therefore, the monitor doesn't see it. Therefore, you have just a $800 brick.
Could be anything. Could be anything from standoff screws not being in the right place to not having enough thermal paste on your CPU, or maybe somebody didn't they didn't stick the memory sticks all the way down in, and so like there's no beeping, therefore there's no this and there's no that. Yeah. So there's a very specific way to troubleshoot it, and it's like all that's gone with this setup for just like a little bit of a premium. So it's very nice if you have disposable income.
So
it's
worth
perfect
it for someone like me.
So it's cool. It's an interesting thing. We don't normally talk about PC gaming, but that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And very, very good service if you don't know what you're doing.
Really easy way to
Or if you don't have time. If you don't have time and you've got the money, then it's also perfect. Like for me, like if I had the money, but say I needed it and I didn't want to go and like spend hours and hours researching, like this is a good option.
Yeah.
It's like it's a little bit more expensive than if I got it on my own, but in the end,
you don't go to
it.
like 10 different sites buying all these pieces,
setting up accounts for the one time
like,
you use them.
Okay, so from Amazon I can get it, like I get this piece through Prime, it'll be here in 2 days, but from Newegg it's not gonna be here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, this is a pain. This comes to you
basically
built. So that's awesome. And I'm really excited to maybe use that in the future.
Yeah. It's impressive.
All right. Next article. Topic number 5 from Polygon. So there is no standard for price of a video game in 2017. That's a good thing for developers, publishers, and fans. So I've heard talked about this before.
Yeah.
Is that people complain, and I know like video game prices vary a little bit country to country. I think in Australia they're more. I think Australia is the most expensive place that video games are. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think for a $60 game here, it's $80 there.
Yeah, at least. And the transfer rate is like, it makes it even more expensive over there. It's way different.
So it's crazy. But we as fans will sometimes complain like, oh, I don't want to spend $60 on a video game.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you also got to think about back in the day, like buying a Super Nintendo game back in the day was $80 or $90.
Yeah.
And it's just you didn't play every video game for the reason of your parents weren't going to buy all the video games. You found the game that you liked. You hoped it was good because they're not going to patch it later.
Based on the picture on the cartridge is really all you had.
Judging a book by its cover and then buying it for $90.
Didn't have trailers.
Going home and like,
didn't have TV commercials. Didn't look it up on the internet.
Yeah, you had to wait for next month's Nintendo Power.
If the box art looked good, then that's what you were getting.
Yeah.
It's wildly inconsistent in terms of where pricing's at. And you think of where like next gen stuff is, where consoles have been the last 2 or 3 cycles. Everything's kind of like $60, right? And it hasn't adjusted for inflation. You know, things are different now with DLC and special editions and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of been locked in for like every game. And now, even just like in the last year or two, we're starting to see a shift based on how games are being made from a AAA standpoint and from like an indie standpoint.
Yeah, I think that shift started to happen even a little bit back in the PS3 area.
Yeah.
So, someone makes a Shovel Knight, puts it out for $30. It gets reviewed by IGN as a downloadable game.
Yeah.
And so the $30 price point means it's not going to be as good as the $60 game, which if you've played Shovel Knight, you know is not true.
100% not true.
Shovel Knight is as good as, if not better than, a ton of $60 games. And there are plenty of $60 games that suck. And so it's just one of those things like price is not a good judge anymore. We got Ratchet and Clank. People were a little worried about the new Ratchet and Clank because it was going to be $40.
Yeah.
It was like, oh no, $40 isn't going to be a good game. It's
not going to be a full game.
Bits and pieces of this game. And it was phenomenal. It was a 10 out of 10 as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
I loved that game.
I spent like 30, 40 hours in that game.
I know, it was so awesome. Founder of Steam Spy, Sergey Galyankin, I think is how I would say his name.
Sounds right.
He says, this is especially true for pre-orders, as I see many indie companies offering discounts for pre-orders, sometimes going as high as 33%. Why would you charge your most loyal fans less? Maybe instead of asking for a lower price, add more value to the pre-order, like the big guys are doing. They pre-ordered your title not because it's cheap, but because they believe in and they want you to succeed. Let them help you. I see his point.
Yeah.
He's kind of taking this from the stance of like, why shouldn't games be more expensive? Like devs need to be paid, especially indie devs, because they're the ones that it costs the most.
Yeah.
So a AAA game may cost more, but an indie game may cost more. So it's one of those things.
Wise words. Important to see the video podcast for that statement. So you can see the body language.
You
there.
Yawning while I was saying that.
I mean, not that far. Whatever, you jerk.
But this started, he saw a price drop from the creator for The Witness.
Yeah.
Jonathan Blow, the creator of The Witness, is kind of operating from the same place that bands kind of like Nine Inch Nails and Radiohead and a lot of bands I've seen, they don't charge for their albums. Like you can have it for free or you can donate as much as you want. You pick the price of what this is going to be. Now, he's not doing that with The Witness because I don't think you can do that just yet. But he's offering a sale for 66% off The Witness on Steam. Like 66% off. Think about that.
I mean, it's not bad.
That's awesome.
It's a good thing, and there's nothing wrong with sales. I think the concern is more with new games. I don't know if this is like a super awesome example of like there's nothing wrong with going on sale.
No, and The Witness has been out for a year and some change. But the games industry is kind of unique in that way. Like you can price things differently based on how much it costs you. And like other industries do that, but games have kind of like been stuck in this. It's $60.
Yep.
This is what it costs.
So it's really nice. Just in the last, we had the explosion of indie games. And when we talk about the PlayStation Store and the Xbox Marketplace, where that really started to pick up steam there in the last couple generations.
Steam.
And so we started to see gamers place a different value on things when it comes to the entertainment value and how much you're getting back for the dollars spent, right? So it's you start to focus less on the price. You almost look to it more because, it's $20. The connotations with that now versus what it was 3 years ago. One we're going to talk about a little bit later, Sonic Mania just released PS4 and Xbox One and the Switch. getting really great reviews. It's sitting there at $20.
$20.
Does that mean you're getting 5 hours of content? No, that's not how it works. But that's probably an appropriate value for a game that has that art style, that has that, that gameplay and things like that. It's very nostalgic.
Yeah.
It's priced appropriately. Something like Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, $30. It's a AA game. It is not a AAA game. Don't go into it expecting
6-hour
that.
experience.
It's 6 to 8 hours at the most. Like, you don't have a lot of combat. You don't have a lot of exploring. It's very linear. It's very focused on the narrative that they're telling. So you shouldn't expect to pay $60 for it. No. There's not this huge replay factor with it. So I think we're getting to the point where gamers and fans and stuff like that are okay with paying less for a game, knowing that it's still going to be a good experience.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, like you said in the past, we have associated cheap games with a cheap experience, and we don't want that.
It's not true. And the cheap games, cheap experience thing.
Yeah, anymore.
The way I phrased that sounded like what you said was not true.
No, you're good.
No,
you're good.
But I think this is part of the big push for the digital future we're all trying to work towards. If part of games being $60 is, yes, what the game costs to make, but then what the disc costs to make, what the art costs to make, what the art costs to print onto the case, what the case costs to buy. You have to buy cases from each of these things, and then what they all cost to ship around the world. And so if you take out those costs, you know how much cheaper games could be?
It's
how much
easier
it is on devs?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so the game goes gold. They get it, approved by everything. It's ready to go. Now you got to worry about getting it printed and shipped and all this stuff. But now it's just game goes gold. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
It's on the store. You can buy it right now. And I love having digital games. I like having physical boxes. I like looking at my little box collection beneath my TV.
Right.
Seeing all those things. But man, I'd be willing to give that up for the convenience of all digital games. The more digital games I get, and mainly because I'm lazy. I want to play. I have not played games that I wanted to play because I didn't want to get up.
Yeah,
and I know that's really lazy, and that's super just privilege of me in that way. But it's like, okay, I could play Just Cause 3, or I could play Dark Souls 3. Well, Just Cause doesn't need a disc, and Dark Souls does.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sit right here because I'm lazy.
No, it's perfectly reasonable. I think it's interesting. I'd love to know how much of an impact Hellblade being digital only affected the price. Was it always going to be $30 when they decided to not do a physical release, or did that affect it? I'm kind of curious on that. Sonic Mania is a digital title.
Yeah.
$20. Okay. So how much of that was not having to make Switch cartridges and PS4 discs and Xbox discs? How much of that factors into the price that we see? Because you're going to play that a lot more than 5 hours.
Yeah, you are.
Crash Bandicoot, the trilogy, right? That's a lot more than 5 hours, and that wasn't $60 right out of the gate, and that had a physical release.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a shift in the pricing in games in general, and I think it's a good thing because
I agree.
We're starting to properly value games based on how good they are, not how much they cost.
Yeah.
So I'm more willing to give a game a go right away when it's cheaper. Like $60 right out the gate, it's really hard to do that. Except for games I know I'm going to like. There's always an exception, right? So something like Destiny, or if another Borderlands was going to come out, I'd buy 2 of them just so I could have them.
Yeah.
Right? That's how much I love those games. That's not going to change. But when it comes to trying a new game, so like the debate between NBA Live and NBA 2K, guess what? If one was $10 cheaper and had a digital version, that's the one I'm getting.
I'll play that game.
Undeterred, because the games are close enough for me that price could be all that sways me. So I am excited going forward to see what the digital revolution in gaming drives, how it drives the prices.
So question for you,
okay,
to kind of play the other way. So we talk about games like, your Hellblades, your Journeys, your Gone Home, these kind of things that are short experiences. Yeah, those in the future could be $10, $15, $20. But what about your games like Witcher and Fallout, and for us, Destiny? These games that we spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in, and they're really, really, really good.
Should they charge more?
Should they charge more? What if The Witcher 3, what if Destiny 2 was $100? And I know it's kind of an unfair question because we paid $100 for the game, but that was our choice to get the DLC with it.
Right.
And so what if it's the vanilla game was $100 because the average person played 400 hours of Destiny.
Right.
So it's fair. You're not even paying $1 per hour at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think that'd be hard. It's really hard to pay more than $60 for a game. Case in point, when I was looking at Destiny 2, we loved it. And I was thinking, I wonder like if there's a good collector's edition. Maybe I save up a bit and get like some of the cool things. I've never gotten a collector's edition. And then it was $250. And I said, no. The messenger backpack looked really cool. Something I might actually use and would be interested in like when I'm traveling. It seems like it'd be a really good option. It had like a solar pack to charge your batteries for different things.
Yeah.
That's really cool and awesome. A functional collector's edition, $250. No, that's too much. So I can't say for sure, like if there wasn't DLC, would I pay $100 for vanilla? I think it's really hard to commit to that. And I think that's part of the pricing standard that we've got set for us is that for the last 10 years, good, big games cost $60. Done. End of story. They don't charge 70. They don't charge 50. They charge 60.
Yep.
So it's nice to see. Obviously, everybody wants games to be cheaper because that helps us as consumers. But when we're talking about inflation of money and the rate at which, budgets are soaring on games and the amount of people involved in making these games are more, and they're trying to find different ways to make their money back.
Yeah.
Because you can't go and invest $40 million into a game and then go sell it for $10 a pop and have everyone have this great, awesome experience. You're never going to make that money back. You're always going to be at a loss. So frame of reference, one of the best-selling games of 1995 was called Phantasmagoria. And it was really big because they used green screens and like live action film of characters to like put them into video game. It looked awful, but it cost like $4.5 million to make in 1995.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of escalation that we're seeing now, but games back then cost almost what they do now. So I don't know where the tipping point is where I would feel okay with paying more. I probably would get Destiny 2, honestly, no matter what price the vanilla game was.
True.
But is that because I want to reward the developer, or is it because I know I'm going to enjoy the game?
Yeah. I think it's one of those things like established series.
Yeah.
You cannot launch new IP game number 1 at more than $60 at this point.
No, you can't.
Because nobody's going to buy it. There will be no game number 2.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn would be a really good example. Brand new IP. They told us when it came out we'd be getting 40 to 50 hours out of it at least. And we did. But I would not have bought that for $60 or for $80. I would have bought it for $60 like I did.
Yeah. And at this point, if this pricing change takes effect for Horizon 2, I'd pay $80 for it.
That's true.
That was a phenomenal game. I loved it. I platinumed it. I did all the stuff. Like, it was great. Now I haven't got the DLC yet, and I don't know if I will. But
it's all right. I mean, I will. It's not till November. We got a little ways.
So it's one of those things. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, especially some of these big games, because I've played a few big games. Like, my wife has invested tons and tons and tons of hours in Skyrim.
Right.
And so she would gladly have me pay $100 for Skyrim.
It's true. You might. They'll have new versions coming out every year.
I know. Just wait till it comes out for, it comes out for the Switch, and then it comes out for the Xbox One X, and then it comes out for the PS5.
Yeah.
And we never actually see another Elder Scrolls game because everybody just loves Skyrim so dang much.
At some point, people are going to have to stop buying it.
Speaking of things we might not ever see again, Crackdown 3 has been delayed to 2018.
Shocker. Spring 2018, not even like January. Spring is what they're saying right now. So
spring is a large time period.
It is. It is roughly.
Especially depending on where you live. They live in San Francisco. It's spring all year. That's how they get away with it. I don't know if they're actually in San Francisco, but I just like to think they are. I think Microsoft's actually up north in like Seattle or something.
Yeah, it is.
Crackdown 3 was originally announced at E3 2014.
It is an Xbox exclusive.
Xbox exclusive. At one point was targeting release in the second half of 2016.
That one point was a long point ago. That was like when they announced at E3 14, they said, they just threw up a date like 2016. And everyone's like, okay, cool. Crackdown 1 and 2, those are good Xbox games. Great. It made kind of waves E3 this year. We got to see Terry Crews, like live action setup coming in. It was kind of cheesy, but really awesome.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was funny. It was well done. I appreciated it. And then it showed us a bunch of gameplay from it. And we're like, wow, maybe we hadn't heard a lot from Crackdown. It was always that when we were talking about exclusives, comparing Xbox, PlayStation, Xbox, we're always like, well, we got Crackdown 3 coming. Good State of K2 coming.
Do you?
And so now Crackdown's delayed.
You're hanging your hat on a very flimsy hook, my friends.
Yeah, we've been hearing about this game for a while.
Quote from, I don't know his first name. I lost it.
Loftus
is his name for now. Quote, Crackdown 3 is an incredibly ambitious project that pushed the technological envelope with immersive true 4K gameplay, cloud competitive multiplayer, and sprawling futuristic open world. The team has been working extremely hard to deliver a great experience for fans, and this extra time will help us do just that. End quote. Now, at E3 in 2014,
yep,
it was not, we're starting on Crackdown 3 right now. Like, the team starts development tomorrow.
Right.
Like, you don't announce a game at E3, exception unless you're Hideo Kojima, that you have not started.
It's true.
You announce
Very
a game
true.
at E3 that you're going to be done with in a matter of a few years. There are exceptions to the rule. Crackdown 3 cannot be one of those. Final Fantasy 15 can be one of those. So it's just one of those things like, what's taking you so long?
Yeah.
There's been other games that have launched in 4K lovelies that
I know it's a good, it's
come out.
Expansive thing. Cloud computing competitive multiplayer is just a mouthful.
Tell me about it.
I don't know why you need all of those. It's just buzzwords. He just wanted to see how many buzzwords he could get in one sentence that delays people from asking questions.
What's new?
I mean, the cars look kind of fancy.
Open worlds have been a thing for a minute, man.
Well, yeah, but it's set in the future. You got jetpacks and you can fly around. You have fancy driving cars and stuff.
Anthem. Does Destiny. So that's anything that's had an open world.
Yeah, but it sounds cool. It sounds cool when you say futuristic.
Futuristic. It's also cloud computing competitivity
in the multiplayer scene.
Crackdown has never been on my radar. I don't have an Xbox, and I won't buy an Xbox.
Certainly isn't helping.
No, this is not helping.
It's just
Xbox
funny
case.
because this was like one of the pillars
really
of like the E3 showcase, right? When we look at like the exclusives they had and the actual exclusives, not like the launch exclusives or whatever, but the actual ones that was a big pillar, right? That and State of Decay and Sea of Thieves, and it's like knocked over.
Yeah,
and you got two pillars.
One of those things. Now, Sea of Thieves looks really fun.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure it'll probably get delayed.
Yeah,
you know how it goes.
Probably will. That's how it goes.
That's how gaming goes.
Well, folks, it's that time.
Ooh boy,
it is time for the drop.
Yeah.
If you're new to the show, again, thanks for sticking around this long. But we load up the drop and we just kind of talk about the games on the drop, read the descriptions, try to decide what they're about.
Indeed.
If you have other easy to read lists and descriptions like this for, Xbox and PC, let us know where you find them, where to get them, or just send them to us, and we will gladly go over games for all platforms.
Love to do it.
As it sits right now, we're just going to do it for PlayStation because Ryan Clements gives us this nice, cool little list.
That's true. I'm sure we could look into Xbox ones, but I'm not that concerned.
Yeah, I think the only person that comes to mind to look up for Xbox stuff is Major Nelson.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's what I would. That's the other one. 3D mini golf. Massive and entertaining match on more than 54 challenging holes, 18 of which faithfully modeled after official courses in the real world. That's not a ton of
official
holes.
There are like official mini golf courses?
I was thinking like model after like official like golf courses. And maybe
but
they
it's
just have
mini
like,
golf.
Yeah, but maybe it's like a mini version of the official course. Like, Pebble Beach. Look, there's a bunch of rocks and there's rivers and it's in an island.
Bridges to go over and you just have to recognize it. You just like pull up next to a model of the PGA like course.
Perfect. Everything's just like shrunk down. 54 challenging holes does not sell. That's 3 different courses is what you've got there. That's not a lot. Maybe this is a cheap game.
Would you pay $100 for this game, James? Agents of Mayhem. Agents of Mayhem is the latest open world third-person action game from the creators of Saints Row franchise. Run a no-holds-barred operation against a shadowy supervillain organization known as Legion and their mysterious leader, the Morning Star.
I just looking at the main character's like chest. He's got like a Saints
that has this just what is that thing that
New Orleans,
that French thing?
Yeah, at Fleur de Luz, right? Fleur de Lens.
Sure.
Fleur de Luz.
Let's call it that.
Sounds right. I was gonna say something else, but that wouldn't work.
Eau de Trois.
Yeah. I don't need another open world third person game.
I enjoyed Saints Row.
I mean,
it's fun,
it's
like
right.
ridiculous, wacky gameplay.
Yeah, it's weird when Grand Theft Auto was a serious game in open world games.
I know.
It's weird. So
when you're running around beating people to
like
death with
Saints
giant
Row,
dildos.
Gat Out of Hell.
Yeah.
When they did the DLC for free on PlayStation Plus, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was kind
for
of
a little while.
City Skylines. Heard a lot about Skitty Skylines.
Skitty Skylines.
PlayStation 4 edition. City Skylines puts you in charge of growing a city. Design, build, manage the city of your dreams. From public services to civic policies. Challenge yourself to grow from a simple town to a bustling metropolitan hub.
I see we're just going to pronounce all the things.
Exactly.
The line that like immediately puts me off, from public services to civic policies. Those are the two things you pick. Those are the opposite spectrum things.
Run everything from the waste department to the newspaper.
Like, goodness, you're talking about like, oh yeah, I have to go manage the waste management. They're not doing so hot, and I've also got to make sure that our town hall policies are up to date and everyone's got their voice heard in our civic policies.
You
really
pay as
important.
Tronald Dump.
That looks stupid.
It does.
Dark Mystery is a fun, challenging puzzle platform with 35 exciting levels. Find true love in the adventure of Dark Mystery. This reminds me of PlayStation Plus title a few months back.
Badland.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
Badlands.
Because it's a little
maybe
dark
it's just
little
a
blob
similar
that like
art
surrounded by
style.
blades. You just like jump through the thing and don't get hurt.
Maybe that's
You roll your dice and move your mice.
same thing.
That's how it goes. What are we thinking? Let's see. Defenders of Ekron. Ekron? Ekron.
It's Ekron.
Ekron.
It's got to be Ekron.
Who knows? Defenders of Ekron mixes the classic action of a shmup in the exploration of an adventure game, including dungeons and a sci-fi experience.
What's a shmup?
Shoot 'em up.
Man, I just write out shoot 'em up.
I don't know. I've heard the term shmup used quite a bit recently.
Thought he was like
And so
offending
that,
me or
like,
something.
just-
You said just
That's a
shmup.
schmuck.
I know. It's just word association.
You know, like you schmuck a clam.
Yeah, I'm gonna shump you later. Shmup.
Please do.
Elosies. No, that looks
It
stupid.
does look dumb. Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 2.
Wow.
This is an established franchise. Here we are, second part of the unfolding Van Helsing saga that could also be enjoyed independently. That sounds like you're pushing really hard to sell this
Yeah.
game. You can explore new corners of this unique world and experience the mix of old school, gothic, and mad science with more action, powerful foes, and plenty of stunning places to visit. What kind of game is it, James?
It sounds awful. I don't know.
Is it open world? Is it linear? Is it a side scroller? Is it a twin stick shooter?
It doesn't
Is
have
it
me.
puzzles? Is it a card game?
It does make me want to go watch Van Helsing though. That was a good
Never
movie.
seen it.
That's a good movie. I
I
mean,
saw parts of it.
okay, you know what? Most people probably be like, James, that's a stupid movie. It's like, I like all movies. Therefore, it's a good movie.
Yeah, so that being said, like we
I have
love
like a
Resident Evil
list.
movies.
I have a list of like 5 movies that I don't like, and that's it. Everything else is good enough.
That's true. We're easy to please.
Matterfall, we talked about that
Talked
one
about it.
already. Nidhogg, no, I'm not. I can't even pronounce that.
2.
No.
I've heard about Nidhogg. Night Trap.
Night Trap.
Night
That's
Trap. 25th anniversary edition.
what's the importance of the 25th
Night
anniversary?
Trap. 25 years. Night Trap is the game that prompted Tom Kalinske, president of
Ooh.
Sega America at the time, back in the early 90s, to start the ESRB. I don't know if he directly started it, but he had a big hand in starting it because he was concerned with what our kids were playing, and so we needed a rating system.
The main reason is because this was one of the first games that was
scary.
on. Yeah, it was scary. It was on multiple platforms.
It was on Sega and Nintendo.
Yeah.
This one and Mortal Kombat, which the big fight there was one. I think Nintendo had blood in Mortal Kombat.
Mhm.
Sega did not. I could be wrong on that. But if you haven't read the book Console Wars, really good. You can get it on
That's
Audible. I listen to it on Audible.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic book. I kind of want to listen to it again. It's really good.
We have very different plans for what we do after this.
Just such a good book, though. It's the story of Sega Nintendo.
Observer, that looks dumb. Paranormal Activity Lost Soul in PlayStation VR. No.
Yeah, that looks terrifying.
Yep.
And
Pillars of the Earth looks like a very cheap anime. I'm not going to look at that.
kind of does.
One I'm excited for, Sonic Mania. I'm probably going to be getting this.
Ooh, but James, though.
I say probably.
Sudden Strike 4.
No. We're talking about Sonic Mania. Alphabetical order, Jake.
Suddenly.
Alphabetical
We're
order.
back on Sonic.
Alphabetical order. So if you don't know what Sonic Mania is, it is a remake. Not really a remake. It's kind of like a reimagining. Here, I'll read the description.
Yeah,
that's what it's there for. Experience the ultimate celebration of past and future. Sonic Mania, an all-new 2D Sonic adventure running at a crisp 60 frames per second with stunning HD retro-style graphics. I would maybe push back on stunning HD. They kept the pixel kind of style of it, right? They didn't like sharpen the edges and put an anti-aliasing or any of that.
It's still in that 240p.
Yeah, it's very retro for a reason and a purpose. And everything we've read, all the reviews we've seen, people we've talked to, it's amazing. It's finally getting back to the roots of Sonic. Of Sonic 1, 2, and 3.
Sonic 2. I love Sonic 2.
And that's what everybody wants, right? So you've got some of the original areas reimagined. You've got some brand new areas. They're doing a lot of different things like with the backgrounds they couldn't do before. A lot of the bonus games are back. So it is the most faithful Sonic game we've had since Sonic 3.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So if you have ever followed it before, there was a guy that came along, Christopher, I can't remember his last name, but he worked to do like
Christian something.
that sounds right.
Yeah.
But so he worked to do like fan remakes of the Sonic games. Worked on those for a lot of years, got the attention of Sega, and they brought him in along with another studio to make this game. So if you are curious about it being faithful 2 Sonic games. That is the key here.
For the article I had earlier that I cannot find now.
Right.
It was on Eurogamer. Also an article on Eurogamer. Engineer invents Switch peripheral for one-handed gamers. So check that out. I haven't read it yet, but it looks interesting.
Totally. Here you go. It's Christian Whitehead.
Whitehead.
Christian
I knew it was
Whitehead.
a name I should have remembered.
Yeah, he the origins of Sonic Mania began more than a decade back when enthusiast Christian Whitehead began a journey to recreate the gameplay mechanics of Sonic 3 using fresh code built up entirely from scratch with zero access to the original source code.
He gave it a try. Started his journey.
I hate you. So he had a Retro Sonic was his first demo. Incomplete, buggy, but gave him a glimpse. Worked on Sonic XG. Then he wanted to recreate Sonic CD. That's when he caught Sega's eye. And so he was part of what brought classic Sonic titles to mobile and consoles even before Sonic Mania.
Sega's a lot cooler with their properties than Nintendo is.
Indeed.
Much so. Speaking of cool properties, Sudden Strike 4.
It's not gonna be.
Sudden Strike is back. The beloved RTS series returns. This time with bigger battlefields, more units, better graphics, new scenarios, and legendary commanders.
Too many commas.
Too many commas?
There was like 7 commas.
For a real-time strategy game.
Like,
If you got time to play an RTS, do you got time
I
for
like
commas?
RTS. Don't get me wrong.
I
They're
hate
fun
RTS.
games. Oh, I love it. I'm a planner, though.
I don't like real-time. I ain't about that mess.
Too much pressure.
There's too much waiting. I was just like, you know what? I don't want things to happen in real time. I'm playing a video game to escape time. Like if you want to have me play a game, just like give it to me, yo.
Okay.
Speed it to me.
Tokyo 42 isometric open world shooter. Weird.
Undertale. I've heard about it for 30 years.
It's a PC classic RPG world full of strange and delightful characters where violence isn't the only answer. I refute that.
Violence is the question. Yes
Choices
is
are
the
yours,
answer.
but you determine enough to prevail. Undertale is a very atypical RPG.
Yeah.
It's not graphically intense. You really just go look up Undertale if you haven't seen it before.
I haven't watched a thing for Undertale.
Just go check it out. It's not something for me. I don't like it. It's weird. It's weird.
I've heard some song mixes about Undertale.
But it's very
Those are
unique.
cool.
Very unique. So go check it out. It's finally out on PS4 and PS Vita. If that gives you any idea of its graphical capabilities.
Yeah, I wanted to kind
Digital
of
only.
touch on this, man, because we were both surprised by it when we saw it. This isn't really gaming related,
It's all right.
but it's in the PlayStation Music section. Hinder released a new album. Hinder.
Yeah, that Hinder.
Like, go home, get stoned. Da 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 da.
That's true.
Like, that band was like just okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it was
Hinder,
really
like,
just that song.
It wasn't like bad songs, but it's just kind of like you have a few like
weird.
guilty pleasure songs from Hinder, and you move on.
Oh yeah.
The first car I bought, fun story. First car I bought, Hinder CD in the disc drive.
Oh, like when you got it.
Yeah, when I bought it,
That's awesome.
I bought it and like pulled away and like got home and hit
awesome.
like I had like the CD player was like it flipped down, like the face flipped down, and then their disc drive was behind it, and I hit the eject button and out rolled the Hinder album. And I was just like, this is a weird day.
It was weird.
And then later on that broke and the Hinder CD is forever stuck inside that car because the radio doesn't work anymore.
Nice.
But that is going to wrap up our show. Ladies and gents, thanks for watching and liking and subscribing and commenting and all the wonderful, wonderful things you do. I'm talking to that one.
That's okay. I'm talking to this one. Well,
Your support gives us more cameras to stare at separately.
it's true.
Talking to you and to you and to you. But
Thank you for just making my editing job 4 times as hard, right?
You're
Just
welcome.
10 seconds there. Thank you.
It's fun when I don't have to edit it.
Welcome.
But like we said, tweet at us, comment on the platform you're taking this in on. Let us know your thoughts. Show us what you show us. Send us
what
your
you
links.
got. What you got, Raji?
Tell them what you want, what you really, really want. I'll tell you what you want. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye.
Bye.